Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 80 of Two Goalies, One Mic. I am, of course, your host, Duane Steinell, not joined by Cully tonight on the ice as per usual. He's a busy guy, coaching the future goaltenders of this great city. But we have producer Steve here, fresh off his first two episodes, I believe, of Where the Buffalo Roam, Steve.
Yep, 2 so far. I was out of town last weekend, so I wasn't here to talk about much. Otherwise, I would have most certainly been talking about the World Juniors. But
we're definitely going to get to that. The World Juniors tournament has been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, we all seen what Owen Power was able to do, which was very unprecedented and only first time ever done by a Canadian defenseman in this tournament. Was score a hat trick against, was it the Czech Republic? Yeah, the Czech Republic.
I believe it was.
Yeah, the Czech Republic. Getting 3 goals, I think 2 of which, I'm not sure if all 3 were on the power play, or at least 2 of them were on the power play. But they were referring to it on Twitter as the Owen Power play, which was a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun to watch that kid perform as well as he's been. Absolutely, it's just been a ton of fun. The hype surrounding him is just going to get bigger now, especially more than ever after this tournament and that hot start he's had. But also outside of that, a lot to discuss. Obviously, we're getting ready to come off this COVID pause. I know me and you, Steve, bought tickets for tomorrow's game after the big announcement of the 3 call-ups from Rochester, Peyton Krebs, JJ Paterka, and Arttu Ristolainen. Very excited for that. Hopefully, with all the cancellations, both up across the border in Canada and, of course, the Isles game. Is it the Isles Devils?
I believe it was the Isles Wings tonight.
Isles Wings, Isles and Wings. Their game was postponed. Hopefully that doesn't affect us tomorrow because I'm super excited to go watch the centerpiece of the Jack Eichel trade in Peyton Krebs and see what he can bring to the table. But before we get all that, Steve, how was your Christmas back at home?
My Christmas back home was pretty cool. Got to do something I haven't done in over half my life, and that was actually little hockey on the ice. I was staying with my little brother up north of Albany, 518, what up? And there's some old buddies of his that have like a homemade outdoor rink thing, but like they do it right. Like he's got boards, nets to keep the pucks that fly over from getting lost in the woods. Like it's a big floodlights, keep it lit all night. It's a nice shed out back with a nice little fire stove to keep you warm as you put your boots on. It's a formal operation, you know. He's got like this little like mini. It's maybe like 100 feet end to end, but like it's still an outdoor rink. It's as close as you're going to get to pond hockey before it's like 10 degrees every day for a week. It was it was a lot of fun. I definitely learned I am incredibly out of shape, but I also learned that the endorphin rush after playing several hours of hockey is unlike any other. It's better than a good night of drinking. It's better than a lot of things. Hockey rules, even if you're terrible at it.
Yeah, I miss playing shitty hockey, as they'll call it up north, but pond hockey. Definitely miss a lot of that. I need more than just my once a week dose on Sunday nights at the Hart Foundation. I definitely wouldn't mind getting back to my roots and playing some pond hockey. I had a good Christmas myself. Spent it with family. Got a pretty dope banner, as you can see above the Ryan Miller jersey, the odd from the girlfriend. It was a pretty cool.
Ooh, Duane.
Yep. But
Duane.
Just a lot. just a lot to be excited about after Christmas. Like I said, it was nice to get away from work and spend some time with family. But most of all, really decompress. We were on a little bit of a break here from the podcast, just kind of, getting that time in that you need sometimes, just kind of like putting the phone down, putting the computer down, and really trying to get away from it all. But there's a big year in review from Two Goalies, One Mic. We had a pretty good year, especially when it comes to the guests. I'm not going to sit here and pump my own tires, but it was pretty cool to be the very first show in Western New York to interview the first overall pick in Owen Power. A couple clicks for us, right? It was awesome. We've had guests on like Clint Malarchuk, Steve Shields, EJ Radek, Greg Wyshynski. You were part of that. It's been a lot of fun. It was a fun year, and we're gonna kick off the new year right. I'm gonna announce it here. Not on Twitter again later, but January 1st, leading into the Winter Classic, between was it St. Louis and the Wild?
Nashville.
Or is it Nashville? I thought it was the Wild.
There's a Nashville one as well, but is it St. Louis and the Wild that play each other?
In the Wild, maybe I'm wrong. Can you look
I could have
that up?
sworn there's a net. Is it Nashville and Lightning?
Maybe.
Because I know there's like three.
There's a Heritage Classic between Buffalo and Toronto. Which
there's Buffalo, Toronto, and Hamilton. But yeah.
Anyways, leading into the Winter Classic, the game we're all, we've grown accustomed to looking forward to watching on New Year's Day. We will be interviewing none other than not just the instigator, but the 716 insider, Andrew Peters himself, a very good friend of mine, agreed to come on the show. Excited for that. Right. No better way, in my opinion, to kick off the new year than the guy who, not just a class act, on his own podcast After the Whistle, just a class act human being, and I don't care what anyone says. He's going to join us. January 1st. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. Maybe reminisce on his old playing days, maybe on his experience at the very first ever Winter Classic. And we kind of shot the shit a little bit, and we were talking about maybe bringing up some of the stories from the old Maple Leaf Sabres rivalry when he played. So a lot to be excited about with that, as well as other guests that we already have lined up, which I'm excited about. I know Curtis McElhaney just recently agreed to come on the show sometime in the new year. Dave Starman, returning guest with NHL Network. He's currently covering the World Junior Tournament. A lot to be excited about. I'm certainly very, very excited. Just getting great into things. Before we start, also, I want to send Two Goalies, One Mics our deepest condolences. Not that it would get to them, but to John Madden and his friends and family. Obviously, in the last couple hours, we heard the heartbreaking news that football icon, broadcasting icon, and video game icon John Madden passed away at the age of 85. Hall of Fame coach with the Raiders. Obviously, we all know that voice from his broadcasting career. And anybody who's ever played a video game, you've played at least Madden, and from any year at least once. I was a big Madden guy when I was a kid, back in the PlayStation days and the PS2 days. And I had every Madden game back then. I would spend hours playing that game along with NHL. So condolences go out to him, and a couple of clicks for the life and career of John Madden. Absolutely, like, Hall of Fame person, and was really saddened to hear of his passing, but also grateful that we were able to experience his greatness and love for the game of football in our lifetime. And I'm really happy that he was able, hopefully, to watch his own documentary on Christmas Day. That I think it was maybe it was ESPN. I can't remember who did it, but it was an unbelievably done documentary, and I suggest anyone go and watch it. But very sad news in the sports world. Yeah. But without further ado, Steve, let's get right to the big news on the docket for today. Find out today that the Buffalo Sabres have indeed called up center Peyton Krebs, Arttu Ruotsalainen, and winger JJ Peterka. And they tweeted out the lines there today. Peterka was on that top line with Tuck and Tage Thompson. and Peyton Krebs
That's
centering
fucking
that
right.
second line.
Yeah, I mean, all it took was a very contagious variant of a very unfun disease to make it happen sooner than anyone expected. But here we are, December 28th, and again, my little brother's a diehard Devils fan, so I get the inside scoop on anything Devils related through him. Apparently, most of their players are back off protocol, so the overwhelming majority of the Devils squad is pretty healthy. Even Blackwood is off the injury list. So, barring anything horrible, we just called up everybody we need. Their squad's fine. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I'm not getting too hopeful because that's what the past 2 years have been. But it's more likely than some of the other matchups we've got that this one won't be postponed. And again, it would be a day after my birthday kind of event. It would be amazing. Again, today's my birthday. My dad forgot. Everyone at work forgot. Nope. They put out like an email blast at work when it's somebody's birthday, and they actually didn't do that for me today. And I'm actually kind of happy about it because it would just be like 50 people that I've never talked to at work just going like, "Oh, happy birthday. What are you going to do?" I'm like, I'm here at work, so I'm not going to do much. But that said, yeah, I do think the game is more likely than not going to happen tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, if you've watched Where the Buffalo Roam, you know that Peyton Krebs and JJ Paterka are some of the most dominant players on the Amerks roster. It goes without saying. I mean, when Jack Quinn isn't sick with mononucleosis, he is, the top contender as far as points are concerned. But I do hope Jack Quinn gets well soon. But in the meantime, Peyton Krebs and JJ Paterka have more than earned their look. I'm glad it's coming. It's a late Christmas present to everybody in Western New York, and even though it's not a done deal just yet, if you don't have your tickets, I would highly recommend getting them sooner than later because that price is going to go up.
Yeah, I'm super excited that we were able to get our hands on those for the price we did because, like I said, this is the centerpiece of the Jack Eichel trade. This is the guy that was speculated to be a part of that deal for quite some time, ended up coming back in the deal, and then obviously the debut of Alex Tuch. Let's not forget about him. He's debuting too.
Of course. Let's not bury the lead.
Let's not bury that guy, and
the guy
who had the biggest smile of them all when he got traded to Buffalo. Which, if you think about it, is extremely hard to believe when you're traded away from a team that's going to contend for a cup to a bottom feeder, essentially, like the Buffalo Sabres. But Alex Tuch is raring and ready to go for the Buffalo Sabres, and I'm excited to see him because that's leadership, if you ask me. And I hear he's been on a lot of the road trips, getting to know the guys in the locker room, trying to instill himself as a leader right away. And I know some people would disagree with me because everybody's high on Dylan Cousins being the future captain of this team, but like this guy just oozes captain material, like from every pore of his body for me. And if they were to throw the C on him next year, I would not be against it at all. I don't care if the guy has been here for half a season or not. I remember when we traded when we dealt for Craig Rivet, and I think they made him captain almost immediately. The team voted on it. I may have not even played a game, to be honest. But Alex Tuch, I'm extremely excited for him. I'm literally, honestly, because he is on a contract for the next few years, I'm considering, and I've been against this after the Jack Eichel thing, I'm considering getting a jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say that, Alex Tuch isn't, of course he's going to be a welcome addition to this lineup. I've never been to Vegas. I'm not a gambling man, but I have been to the Baldwinsville Diner, A-plus establishment. So I can understand a Baldwinsville, Syracuse boy being excited to get back up to Western Central New York.
Yep.
He's back home. He's back where he came from. And I think that, it just kind of seemed like the amount of locals around here that were just like so happy to see like a Western New York kid come back home. I don't know. I just think it's going to – and he's exactly the kind of player that Donnie Meatballs loves. He's that guy who's been working his ass off since the second he got into the league. And for whatever reason, he always seems to find himself as the odd man out on pretty stacked teams at the time. I mean, when he was getting pushed out of Minnesota, I mean, you can question maybe you should have pushed out Dumba instead of Tuch. But they made the moves they made, and then Tuch got pushed off to Vegas. And then in this trade, somehow I also can't potentially say that if you have the opportunity to trade for Jack Eichel, maybe Alex Tuch has to go. But at the same time, it's not the guy's fighting for every single inch of ice that he gets and every single shift that he has. And that's exactly the kind of player that Donnie Meatballs would want to build around. That's that kind of grit and attitude. That's that I'm going to earn every last pump of my skates on the ice when I get it, and I'm not going to give up. I'm gonna fight every battle until it's over. I'm gonna take every shot I can make. I'm gonna make every pass I can make. I'm gonna back check until my fucking knees shatter. I don't care. Let's go. And that's Alex Tuch, and that's the kind of dude that Donnie's gonna love. And if he doesn't get the C, I could easily see him getting the A, backing up Dylan Cousins if Dylan Cousins is going to be the Buffalo Sabres poster child of leadership, which I'm also not opposed to. But I have a hard time not seeing that guy getting a letter next season. But
yeah,
first things first, let's get him
I
on the
think for
ice.
sure he at least gets an A. I don't even think that's debatable. He's already shown a very calm presence in that locker room without even skating a single minute of a game. I'm like I said, I'm very excited for Alex Tuch. I'm very excited to see. There's been a lot of hype around JJ Peterka and how far he's come since we watched him at the last year's World Juniors and how well he performed with Stutzel for Team Germany. Or Stutzla.
Stutzla, yeah.
Stutzla. And obviously, again, we didn't know a ton about Peyton Krebs coming into that trade. We've seen quite a bit. His ability to obviously not. It took he didn't get going right away. It took him a few games, but once he did, man, he really turned it on for Rochester. And then we all know what Arttu Ruotsalainen brings to the table. It's been debated quite a bit whether or not he should have stayed up with Buffalo rather than go back to Rochester for the likes of guys like Hayden and Cody Eakin and, Mark Jankowski, just to name a few guys that have been up with the club instead of a guy like Arttu Ruotsalainen, who brings a lot of different dimensions to his game that maybe those guys don't offer, especially when it comes to speed. But I'm excited to see all four of these guys in the lineup tomorrow night. As long, knock on wood,
fingers crossed,
that this game does not get postponed tomorrow.
Absolutely. And as far as Arttu Ruotsalainen goes, I wouldn't give it too many knocks on Mark Jankowski. The small sample size that we've seen, he's a very good when in whatever situation. He's like that Swiss Army knife kind of player. He's going to be good wherever you put him. If you need him to just go do some wall battling, dumping and chasing, just wearing some other line down while you cycle in the better offenseman, he's going to be able to do it. It's going to be great. But I want to say it was a play that he made to Rasmus Asplund in one game that led to a goal, or maybe it was Gergenson's, but it was just like a single-handed effort for like 30 seconds to just keep fighting for the puck, to keep maintaining the puck, make enough space for himself to make the open pass, to finally find the guy who buried it. And, of all the people that shouldn't be up still who are, I do honestly think that odd man out is John Hayden. And I don't think it's going to surprise anybody. Maybe we got him because we wanted some physicality in the lineup. We wanted a little bit of a bruiser. I think he's been in maybe one scrap. He didn't really scrap that much. He checks a little bit, which is fine and all, but there are other people out there throwing the body. It's not like 3 years ago Sabres where nobody was throwing a hit to save their. It's like they were allergic to the plexiglass. So I don't know. It's nice to see Arttu Ruotsalainen back in the lineup, but if and when people start getting healthy again, I hope that he's not the odd man out that gets called back down, because I do think there's different individuals in the bottom six of the roster that should probably get the call down.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with you. This is a good opportunity for these kids to show, what they've learned playing professional hockey, especially JJ Peterka, who, actually, all both of them. Arttu Ruotsalainen probably has the most experience playing professionally, going back to last year. But Peyton Krebs, I can't remember if he got a sniff in the NHL last year. I think
he got a couple games.
I think he did. Okay, so Krebs had a few games in with Vegas, but for the most part, Ruotsalainen probably had the most experience. Peterka, I think he played for the DEL. Did he play for the DEL over in Germany? I can't remember which team he played for. Anyway, regardless, after performing as well as he did, in the World Juniors in 2021 and now here, with Rochester in 2022, like I just can't wait to see that speed that he's going to bring to the table come tomorrow night, especially that top line with Alex Tuck and Tage Thompson, the pterodactyl.
Yeah, to answer your question, Jay did play in the Dell. He played in 2019-2020. 2019-20 season, 11 points in 42 games. That was his first season playing against full grown-ups, so a little bit of a learning curve. Following year, 20 points in 30 games, so obvious uptick. This year, of course, we're at 20 points in 23 games in the AHL. And that's also after last year's impressive World Juniors appearance. 10 points in 5 games, on a team that did not have the depth of squads like USA or Canada, to be sure. But yeah, JJ Peterka getting his first look in the NHL. I do believe that Peyton Krebs did. I don't want to talk out of school, so I'm going to just double check here. Yes, he did. He even had a few games with the Knights earlier this season. He had 4 games last year. He tallied an assist, so he has already gotten his first NHL point. This year he's had 9 games. Didn't get a single point on the scoreboard. Only took 1 penalty though, so that's pretty good for a rookie. Not bad. And then of course Archie Ruotsalainen's been playing against grown-ups for a minute, just as an older guy. But yeah, I think the thing that's interesting about Ruotsalainen is when he was here last year, he would just kind of seem like that Olofsson kind of sniper, but also with like a little bit more focus on his D game. But in a lot of the situations I've seen him in this year, he's mostly like on the penalty kill, just primarily serving in a defensive first role, which, obviously you need those players in your tool chest, but that wasn't necessarily the guy I thought Arttu Ruotsalainen was developing into becoming, which, with a lethal slap shot like that, you didn't think that would be where he's going to make his bread and butter, either with the Sabres or the Amerks. But, it's nice to see that I'd like to see a little more time spent in the offensive zone, get a few apples, maybe a couple biscuits, feed the poor boy. But, it's great to know that his defensive game is solid, For a kid that's only 5'9", he wins a lot of wall battles. He's always fighting for the puck, even though he's, sometimes getting shoved off it just based on his size.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, extremely, extremely excited for everything you just mentioned. But with that being said, I'm sorry. I had a thought while you were talking relating to that, and it just. You ever have that happen to you where you just lose it?
You had a thought and now it's gone.
Now it's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
But no. One of the, like I said, I think one of the things I'm most looking forward to out of the debut of these players, from the little bit I've seen from Peyton Krebs in Rochester, the guy has a very powerful shot. Very very innate finishing ability. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Peterka's speed, especially his explosiveness.
It's absurd.
Yes. Once you think you got him like that, he's gone. And then with Alex Tuck, just that ability to have a guy that is really gonna play hard in front of both nets. He's gonna stand up for his teammates, and he's gonna really wear that Sabres crest with a lot of pride. Very, very excited to see, what he brings in his first game as a Sabre. He's going to come out of all those players, or isn't it going to be a player on this team tomorrow night that plays with more energy than Alex Tuck? I mean, that's why that's for me, as excited as I am for Peyton Krebs and JJ Peterka, Alex Tuck is the biggest reason why I decided to go tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's that chip on his shoulder kind of guy. He's got something to prove now, And I think he knows what he's walking into. Like he's a lifetime Sabres fan. Like I'm sure he had some feelings when Ryan O'Reilly went out the door. So he knows what this trade is going to be compared to. So he wants to come back, and he doesn't want to be Vlad. He doesn't want to be Saboka. He doesn't want to be Berglund, hangs out for 10 games and then, F's off for the rest of his career. He doesn't want to be Tage Thompson, who takes years to develop. He wants to be like, oh, well, okay then. Maybe we didn't lose that trade after all, or we didn't lose it as bad as people said we did on the internet.
No.
So I think he knows. I think he feels it too.
It's going to take a lot in order for us to really even think that we came anything close to not losing the Ryan O'Reilly trade. Like I said, in terms of it going.
That trade we lost. We absolutely lost.
Yeah. It's just it couldn't have gone worse in terms of like the full calendar year after the fact. Stanley Cup, Conn Smythe guy, and then later on he's named the captain. It just went horribly wrong. But in terms of Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel, I mean, you were never going to win a Jack Eichel trade. You just weren't. As nice a piece as that Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs, could potentially be. Had the situation been different, maybe Jack gets the surgery, comes back, plays a few games healthy. You probably could have got a much larger return than what you did. Maybe you get Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuck, and even maybe a Bryson or maybe a Shea Theodore, because I think that's what he would. That additionally, I think that's what Jack Eichel would have been worth, is adding a guy like Shea Theodore to that deal that you already got, or maybe 2 first-round picks. I think Adams could have gotten what he wanted for a very healthy Jack Eichel. But again, let's not dwell on the past. Let's just look forward. I'm excited for what's to come tomorrow night against the New Jersey Devils. Again, knock on wood that we do have a game to play tomorrow night. Again, all cross-border games up in Canada were canceled or postponed. Sorry, and then again the Islanders Red Wings game was postponed as well. Sorry, Dewey Crocs. Unfortunate for you. But other things to discuss also, obviously, we could talk about Owen Power's debut. We kind of teased that at the beginning. Owen Power's debut for Team Canada and his debut at the World Junior Tournament. Guy, had Twitter rant and raving yesterday, scoring a hat trick in his first game of the tournament, and being the first Canadian defenseman to ever have a hat trick in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he's living up to that number 1 pick. No one can say he isn't making an impact on the scoreboard. He's just taking what he's been doing in Michigan, and he's doing it on the world stage. Not everyone's watching games happening at the Yost. Not everyone has ESPN Plus. You should probably get an ESPN Plus.
Love ESPN Plus.
But that said, it's been amazing to watch him wheel and deal. And I believe Connor Bedard, actually, 2023 eligible pick, also got a Canadian hat trick tonight. He's not a defenseman, but Canada's just.
There's a lot of hype around that kid, man. As much as people are hyping about Shane Wright this coming draft, the hype around Connor Bedard is real, man. And to be asked as, I think, what is he, 16 or just turned 17, to play in this tournament at this early of an age, that says a lot about the player. And I've been hearing about Connor Bedard now for 2 years. 2 years. And I think he's like 16 or 17 years old. So for a guy like me to be hearing that name for this long, I mean, as great as McDavid was, we didn't really start hearing about McDavid until a full year before his draft eligible year. The last guy we heard this much hype around leading into a draft, for this many years before his draft year, was Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe chalk that up to people having a little more time on their hands to talk about stuff on the internet these past 2 years, but I think it's also just, I mean, at least that hat-trick goal, my goodness, he just gets a feed right from the face-off, does a little loop-de-loo to protect the puck from the guy chasing him, does a little deke to, low-key shatter his ankles, and then he rips it. He barely pulls it back and just snipes it top shot. Like, I don't even think he pulled it back a foot, and he just ripped it. He ripped it like tissue paper at Denny's at 3 a.m. It was just sickening how lethal that shot was. It was so good.
Real quick here, though, obviously, I'll touch on that. I actually haven't seen the goals yet, as Jonathan, you just, eloquently gave us details about. But I have the video clip here of Owen Power's all three of his goals. We'll play them here real quick for you guys, courtesy of TSN.
Knocked down now by Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault. So backhand shot. Malik down. Perfetti digging. The puck stayed out as Malik kept that in. And now a long shot. They score from the point in Power. Malik was down. And Canada's drawn back within the goal.
He's in the net. Now he's like, I better get up here. But it's a short side shot off the one on his elbow.
Back to Power.
Yeah.
Power to Perfetti.
Not to talk over these brilliant broadcasters over at TSN, but I just want to point out, especially I believe it's on his third goal, which got him the hat trick. You're really seeing this. I think a different player than what we've seen at Michigan. I have been used to seeing Owen Power not being afraid to get involved offensively, outside of just sitting at the point. But he's getting involved down low below the dots, very willingly. I'm not saying that he has a leash on him at Michigan. I'm not saying that at all. But it just seems to me that with Team Canada, he's being given a little bit more freedom to do what he wants, especially offensively on the man advantage.
Back down to Perfetti. 10 seconds to go on the check. First penalty. Perfetti shoots. Bouncing puck in front. McTavish backs it back and they score. Power again.
Well, how's your first game in the World Junior Tournament going, Owen Power? Buffalo Sabres fans, what are you thinking? Here's Owen Power. He's got 3 goals here, a couple on the power play. He's going to wander down by the goal line, and when this puck bounces around, he's standing at the goal line on the
Zero
left
hesitation.
This puck bounces around off the McTavish miss. Thank you, says Owen Power.
That lineup. How does anyone think that they can compete with Canada at the World Juniors? Holy shit!
That team is just so good. They're just so good, man.
It's irresponsible.
They're good every year, though. That's too.
Of course they are.
They're always good every year. Obviously, Team USA, took home the gold last year. Unfortunately, they had to forfeit one of their games. 2 players tested positive for COVID. I think it was today. They had to forfeit their game against the Swiss, unfortunately. Hopefully that doesn't lead to more games, having to be forfeited by Team USA. Definitely agree here with Dylan Baker. Canada is an absolute wagon. That team is so good and so deep. Goaltending looks phenomenal. I'm a big fan.
It's irresponsible. If they didn't basically invent the sport, I'd say it's illegal.
But like I pointed out during the video, one of the things that really stuck out to me just from that one game is Power's willingness to get involved offensively, not just just driving play out of his own end, but like you see on that power play, he's below the dots. It's not like he's sneaking there. He's sitting there the entire time waiting. Not something we've seen a ton of at Michigan. We've seen little bits and pieces. But I'm not saying he has a leash on him at Michigan. He's being told to play this certain way and being restricted. But it just seems he's being given a little bit more offensive freedom with Team Canada.
Ooh, we got a question here from Paramat Pictures. All that talk about Power for Canada, but what about Isaac Rosen for Sweden? I don't think he's put up any points on the board just yet, unless there's been a game happening today that I've missed. Again, I was at work all day on my birthday. It's fucking stupid. working on your birthday should be illegal. Same with Team Canada playing in the World Juniors. It's just not fair. It's almost unethical to every other country in the world that has to try to compete with Canada. It's
You're not
just
wrong.
like fucking Thanos with the whatever the thing with the gems, and he destroys the world or whatever. You get it.
Mhm.
Superhero movies. It's basically just that. And every other team is just like, man. It's just like, come on. It's hard. It's just so hard. It's so hard
It
to
is.
compete against Canada in any of these tournaments. But but I mean, again, to be fair, that I'm not sure the Swedish team has quite the depth of a squad like Canada or USA or the Russian squad even. But he's there. He's trying to make an impact. But nothing to report of on the scoreboard as of yet, my friend.
Yeah, he has
I wish
not
that was
got
different.
any points. That is a very good Swedish team, though. So it's maybe a little more difficult for a young kid like him to stick out right away. But I mean, we saw we saw a lot of his highlights after getting drafted. This kid has insane breakaway speed. He's built for this ice surface on the Olympic size rinks. So I would expect to see some highlight reel moments from Isaac Rosen at some point during this tournament. The skill is there. The speed is there. Just maybe he needs to get a few games underneath his feet before he really starts to show his talent and why he was drafted in the first round by Buffalo.
Yeah. Another late pick in this year's draft, Nikita Novikov, over there in Russia.
I enjoyed watching him last night. He looked very steady at the blue line, very physical. He stood out a lot to me on that Russian hockey team. Especially, I think he was the best defenseman on the ice.
He's got great hands. He's got great feet. And at that age, those are the two pieces of the equation that you really want. The hockey IQ can come with age, but if you got feet blocks and hands like spaghetti, I don't know, man. You can get away with having one and not the other for a minute, but eventually you got to have it all. Hockey IQ, good feet, good hands. Usually, if you're a halfway decent prospect, you only got the one. Sometimes it's just know exactly what play to make, even if you're not the best shooter, you're not the best skater. But yeah, I mean, for a 6th round pick, he's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Just making a lot of smart plays out there.
He's a big guy too, man. Like a big, mean Russian defenseman. I love it. I love every second. I love it.
Oh man, is he a righty or a lefty? Because if he could be like on the right side of Rasmus Dahlin, oh my god,
That's a few years down the line.
Yeah, years down the road, of course. But
I just salivate at the thought of having Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin on our blue line, especially on that first power play unit. I don't care if they're both left-handed defensemen. For sure, it's something to salivate thinking about, man. There's some people out there that say Owen Power makes Rasmus Dahlin expendable. I actually think the absolute opposite. I think having them both on your team, even if it costs you a pretty penny to keep them both at some point, I think you do it because having those two guys anchoring your blue line for like the next decade, I mean, come on. Not many teams can say that they have two guys like that under contract on the same team.
The great thing about building a pyramid, you need a strong base. So if you have a strong base in Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power, what on earth are you thinking giving it up? You have two sets of incredible shoulders to build that team on. Like, what are you doing? And on top of that, we'll have the 3 growing goalie prospects that could – each one of them has the possibility of becoming the guy. What if we have 2 the guys? Then we just have a perfect, 1A, 1B tandem that just kind of you want it? Nah, you can have it. You're on a heater right now. I'll sit out for a week or so. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm coming in 2 weeks. Yeah. Give me a break. Yeah,
I got another comment here from Dylan Baker. I agree. Jesper Wallstedt has been phenomenal in that for Team Sweden. Me and our newest intern, Carson, we were actually talking about this. We were texting about this the other night. He's been a big standout for Team Sweden. The kid's ability, he seems so calm in that, quick feet. Great. I want to say he was in Minnesota Wild draft pick in the first round. I think mid to late first round. Kid has been an absolute stud. Just fun watching him. I love watching some of these goalies. In their Sweden's game versus Slovakia, he carried Sweden on his back during that game, and I think he won. Was it? I'm trying to think. I think he won MVP of that game. 3-0 shutout win for Team Sweden.
Shutout will get you MVP.
Yep. Believe it. I believe so. So he again, a lot of fun to watch Jesper in net for Team Sweden. Again, me and intern Carson were texting about it, and this kid is going to be a lot of fun to watch for years to come. Minnesota fans should be really excited about some of the young players they have on the team currently and coming up through their system.
Yeah. Minnesota is always one of those teams that surprises you. Some people are making the claim that maybe they're overperforming right now, but I think they just have a lot of guys for the most part that are making some reasonable contracts and making more happen than what you would normally expect a guy getting paid that kind of money to do. I mean, obviously, Kirill Kaprizov got his very long $9 million, 5-year, $9 million deal, but for a guy like Kirill Kaprizov who could just as easily go back to the KHL and have a grand old time, probably make bank, stay in the homeland, took a minute to get him to sit at the table and sit down and stay in Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these other contracts, for like Joel Eriksson-Ek, 5.25.
Yeah.
Victor Rask is up next year. He's only at $4 million right now. You got that Marcus Foligno veteran presence, 3.1. These are pretty affordable guys, compared to the landscape of the rest of the league. Like some of your top guys cost you a pretty penny. And I don't know. It just kind of seems like one of those teams where everybody is finding a way to contribute. Obviously Kirill the Thrill is Kirill the Thrill for a reason, but it's not just the Kirill Kaprizov show in Minnesota. There are definitely many, many pieces of that team that are working. I think it'll be interesting to see how far they can push it this year. A more quote unquote normal postseason, as it were. But as of right now, they're looking pretty poised to get ready to do it.
Yeah.
We still have half a season left to go. A lot of games to make up due to postponement. A lot of schedules could be radically different. Some contenders might have a much easier schedule than anticipated. Some contenders might have a wildly harder schedule than they anticipated, just by virtue of geography. Maybe Carolina and Florida just have to play each other a lot to make up some games, or maybe Vegas gets to play Arizona a lot because they're right there. I don't know. A lot of things could happen in February. We got to see how that one shakes out. But it's going to be an exciting second half of the year, and the playoffs, honestly, it's going to be unpredictable. I couldn't tell you who I expect to win right now. It's tough to say.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
It's definitely going to be difficult to predict for sure. Going back to Wallsted's shutout, 3-0 shutout, 48 saves. Swedish head coach Thomas Monten on Jesper Wallsted for the Minnesota Wild draft, first round draft pick. He was terrific. If we're going to have a shot at this, he has to be an important component for us, and he really showed that today. And a lot of analysts are saying he, should probably be the runaway, winner of the goaltender of the tournament, possibly even player of the tournament with how good he's looked so far. And if he continues to, trend in that direction and continue that success, I don't see why not. I mean, you have great players like, again, Connor Bedard being the first 16-year-old to have a hat trick for Team Canada in this tournament since Wayne Gretzky, which is an unreal thing to say, that there's another player that has the skill to do something like that. And mind you, I want to say Crosby might have played in this tournament as a 16-year-old. Actually, I want to say he did. So to be ahead of names like that in terms of this tournament, that's wild to me. Again, we've seen obviously the first game of Owen Power for Team Canada scoring a hat trick in his debut as a 19-year-old, and other players too that have really stood out for Team Russia. God, I can't pronounce his name. Help me out here, Steve. Maitev Mishov. Maitev Mishov. I know I'm butchering his name. Mishkov scores for team. One of his goals were absolutely nasty for Team Russia against I believe it was maybe the Swiss. I would say it was the Swiss. Yeah, the Swiss. Kid has been an absolute stud. Another comment here from Dylan Baker. Ivan. Best hockey name ever. Yeah, I tend to agree.
Oh my God.
Their parents, I mean, they just, I don't know. How do you give your kid the say? That's awesome. I'm sorry, that's awesome. That I feel like his parents lost a bet.
He has to play for Buffalo. Buffalo.
Yeah. Like I feel like his parents lost a bet, right? Like they lost a bet and they said you have to name your kid Ivan. Like that's funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah. With that being said, though, Steve, wrapping things up here. Again, just kind of recapping things. Obviously, again, Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuck, and JJ Paterka making their Sabres debut tomorrow night. Owen Power with an unbelievable debut for Team Canada last night against the Czech with a hat trick in the first two periods of the game, and he had a couple nice chances to even to pot 4 goals on the night. Anything else to add outside of what we already talked about?
Maybe a quick prayer to the hockey gods that tomorrow happens, because I really don't want to miss that.
And obviously, we saw Brad Marchand's comments about the decision by the league with the Olympics and going against the agreement made, I think, in the CBA. I tend to agree for sure. I think that and I don't find myself agreeing with a guy like Brad Marchand very often, like literally at all. Very hard to ever find yourself agreeing with Brad Marchand. But I'm trying to bring up his statement right now. Right here from Brad Marchand. From his Twitter account, the NHL and NHL Players Association can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and don't lose any money, which has already been agreed upon that the players will pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics so they can honor the agreement they made so the NHL players can go. Please tell me that that's not bullshit. And for all of you who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make that choice for themselves. I tend to agree with the guy. Like, if the players want to make that decision, giving up that money to go represent their country at the Olympics, again, that's their decision. I don't. Granted, there would be a lack of. I'm sorry, it's about to die on me here before we wrap up. Before. I know there'll be like a lack of talent. With them being over the Olympics over here in the NHL, obviously with these taxi squad players. But again, that's their decision. I tend to agree with Brad Marchand there. The Olympics comes around once every 4 years. This could potentially be the second time in a row we don't get to see NHL players play in the Olympics. As of right now, it's not going to happen. But that's not just unfair to. Again, I'm a huge advocate of the World Cup of Hockey. If you can't do this, do it in the off season. I think it's a fun event. The fans love it. I loved it back when they did it in 2015. But if you make the Olympics happen, I mean, it's a very fun event, not just for the fans, but the players. The players love going to represent their countries. And I think this is the first time in a very, very long time Team USA can really stack up well against Team Canada and challenge them for the gold.
Yeah, as unfortunate as it is, I do think that this was just like a big business decision. I'll give it a minute. Still there, homie. I think he's looking for his charger. So how about them Mets, huh?
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I know I left you hanging there, Steve, but
it's all good.
It's literally a search for my charger right now for this thing before it dies. And oh, there it is. I got it. Boop. Oh God. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, this is so unprofessional. This is so unprofessional. I apologize. This is bad. This is bad. This is the blooper reel right here, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Just gotta get this thing charged. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Never mind the man in the left side window. He's not here. That's yep. Fake. You're not seeing that at all. That's definitely not the side of his neck. Nah, it's not real.
It's not real.
It's
better to have it happen this way than have it not be on the screen at all. Because
I guess that's true. This is better than just dying mid-episode. But yeah, you teed me up for a response, and I guess the unfortunate thing was, this might be. All I was going to say is that ultimately it seemed like this whole thing was just a big business decision. I don't think Gary Bettman wanted anybody going to the Olympics at all. And, I think he saw an opportunity with the spike in Omicron, like the threat that it could pose not only to, the league as a whole, but also just to the players, and just figured, let's just put the big kibosh on this. I didn't even want them to go anyway. And now, he's kind of got a convenient out. So, so clearly, he can change the rules of his own league's agreements when they serve his wants. But if it's something that literally every team and every player wants, well, I'm Gary Bettman and I'm in charge. And it just, I don't know. It should kind of, the rules should apply to everybody. I think that's a pretty, I don't think that's a pretty provocative, hot take to have. The rules should apply to everybody, even the guy who's, the head of the rules. But that said, this is actually a really good question here. Who do you think will be on the move at the deadline for us, and who is untouchable? Colin Miller is absolutely on the move. If we can get a 6th-round pick for him, hopefully, goddamn Cody Eakin. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Robert Hagg also gets moved. I think he only has like 1 or 2 years left. He's pretty cheap. If you're looking for some defensive depth, that might be a smart pickup for you because, again, he's been eating pucks like Kirby all year. So, very no bullshit defensive defenseman. So if that's what you're looking for, that's exactly what you're going to get. Don't put him in a offensive situation because, he'll blast a ripper that goes 10 miles wide of the barn. But, if you need him to kill a penalty, he's your guy. He's pretty darn good at it. So, yeah, definitely Miller, hopefully for a higher pick because he's that right-handed defenseman, and that's a hot property right now.
Line got to at the Ducks in the offseason.
For sure.
And not saying that's what you're going to get for Colin Miller. Colin Miller had a really good start, tailed off, was a healthy scratch for a few games. Hopefully he kind of finds his game again, especially now with these younger players coming into the lineup and seeing how long they stick around. In my opinion, probably only for a few games before they go back to Rochester. But, again, the more points, assists, goals that Colin Miller gets, that just, increases his value at the trade deadline. Again, teams are going to value right-handed defensemen, a lot higher, especially as rentals. So I could definitely see a guy like Colin Miller maybe getting you a second, at the very, worst, I think a 3rd-round pick at the trade deadline.
Yeah. Another name I could see potentially finding its way out the door, and it breaks my heart because I liked him when he first got here. Anders Bjork could be one of those odd man out
Yeah.
guys. I mean, especially with the influx of talent on the forward end of things next year. Just to run through who is going to still be here. We're still going to have Skinner, obviously. We're still going to have another year of Kyle Okposo. Definitely going to have another year of Tage. Going to have another year of Casey, obviously. Dylan Cousins has got another year on his ELC. Potentially Krebs, Paterka, Quinn. As you can see, that's like 9 names right there.
Mm-hmm.
Asplin's got another year. We'd have to have a
I think
conversation
Anders
about.
Bjork kind of played himself out of Buffalo, though. I'm not saying he hasn't played bad, but he hasn't really done enough to the point where he's like you say to yourself, "Yeah, we got to keep this guy around." Again, I don't know what
Yeah.
the analytics say, but guys like him, in my opinion, are just easy to replace. And I think pretty sure Don Granado's coached him in the past with Team USA, but I don't look at a guy like Anders Bjork and think that we have to keep that guy around. No, like you can replace him either in your pipeline right now, or you can find a guy in free agency that you can kind of plug and go on a 1 or 2 year deal and get the same, get kind of get the same result as you would get from Anders Bjork. He's just not a guy I need to keep as of right now. I like his game. Again, he doesn't hurt you. When I think of him, I'm not going to make a direct comparison to a guy like Jochen Hesch because Jochen Hesch had better goal scoring ability, but Jochen Hesch never hurt you, ever. Like you put Jochen Hesch out there, and he never hurt you. Like sometimes he'd frustrate you because you'd see the one thing I used to hate about Hesch was he would get like prime goal scoring opportunities, like right in front of the net, and he would shoot it wide, shoot it right into the pads of the goalie's chest. But then he would score the most random goals from like the top of the goal line on a horrible angle off somebody's skate or banking it up the goalie, or the goalie would mishandle it and hit it. It used to happen all the time with Jochen Hesch. He used to drive me nuts. But again, he wasn't ever a guy that hurt you in your own end. He was very responsible in his own end. And I think Anders Bjork, again, not a direct comparison, but I think a little bit about Jochen Hesch when I think of him, minus the goal scoring ability.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been what I've been seeing all year. Nothing wild and crazy happens when you put Anders Bjork out on the ice. But also, which is important, especially for teams looking to acquire depth at the deadline, nothing bad happens when Anders Bjork is on the ice. He's not going to be the guy that makes the bonehead turnover that leads to Ovechkin and the gang running down the line and look that right, oh shoot, he oh yeah, fed it right to him. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a gimme. Yeah, no, that's probably not going to happen when Anders Bjork is on the ice again. He's not going to bury he's not going to have the 2-goal nights he had a couple times here in Buffalo, which were awesome, all aboard the Bjork wagon. But so yeah, definitely Miller, probably Bjork, probably Hag, and in a perfect world, Cody Eakin. But I mean, again, Cody Eakin's out of here by the end of the year anyway. So if he doesn't go at the deadline,
honestly, as much as we love that highlight reel save he made, maybe even Malcolm Subban. I mean,
it is entirely
entirely possible.
Yeah.
Depending, I know they're kind of high on him and they really want to give him an opportunity to, make a place for himself here in Buffalo beyond this year. But he's definitely a guy that could be on his way out the door at the deadline for any team looking for depth for their goaltenders. So
there's also Hinostroza, who's UFA after this year, and case in point, because I completely forgot that he exists, Drake Caggiula could be somebody's fourth line relief if they need that 13th man. I just feel like with what's coming up in the pipeline forward wise, if you've got forwards that you can move, now's the time to move them, because a lot of these guys are, a lot of the core pieces are going to be sticking around for a minute, and the kids you don't really need anymore. Most of them were league minimum guys anyway, so might as well give those people with 2 more years on their ELC a chance, see what they're capable of, because, you got to learn eventually whether or not they're worthy of re-signing. So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I don't think. Yeah, Hinostroza too. Dylan Baker. Hinostroza could be a guy that's with the door. He's a guy that has scored a good handful of goals here early on for Buffalo. I think he has 6 or 7. I want to say.
Yeah.
Maybe making himself a point for himself to be a depth guy on some team, a fourth line guy. Maybe a team looking for a guy who can maybe score a few goals and not hurt them defensively. I could see Vinny Hinostroza being a guy like that. Maybe it gets you like a 4th or a 5th round pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny can honestly go either
cry,
way.
Cry anyone a river if Vinny Hinostroza is still a Buffalo Sabre after the deadline. It is what it is. But with that being said, before we wrap up here, we're coming, and then again, I mentioned our first guest of the new year in 2022 will in fact be Sabres alumni and current host of After the Whistle podcast, formerly with the Instigator show over at that Buffalo radio station, whose name I won't say. Andrew Peters will be on with us on January 1st, New Year's Day, leading into the Winter Classic. But that before, obviously, with it being New Year's Day, going into the new year, Steve, any big New Year's resolutions you're looking to try and maintain this next year?
Yeah. Get back in shape.
You are muted, sir. Nobody can hear you.
How am I muted? How the heck did that happen? This happened. Can you hear me now?
Nope.
What about it? No? All right, let's.
Nobody can hear you. Steve try to give us his New Year's resolution and no one can hear him.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
What timing is that?
Can you hear me now?
Bud.
What in the hell just happened?
I don't know. I can't hear you.
No? Nothing?
Wow. Oh my God, that's awesome! You're ready to give your New Year's resolution, and we. Oh no!
Here we go. How about that? That work? Now can you hear me? Now you're muted. What the hell did you do? What'd you do? Now you're muted.
Are we
you hear
good
me
now? Are we good now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, apparently everybody could hear you except for me. I was here.
Okay, so maybe you just muted me.
Maybe I couldn't hear you. I don't know if our listeners.
Hey. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So my New Year's resolution is to get back in fucking shape. After playing pond hockey for the first time in about 16 years, I realized I am fucking fat now. It was only 100 feet of ice, and I was winded, sweating bullets just after like a couple hours of just shooting the breeze out there on the ice. It was grim. I should not have been that sore after that, but I was. So I definitely got to get back in shape because it's kind of bad, Mm-hmm. So that's number one, but I'm also not going to be that guy who gets the membership and starts going January 1st. I'm going to wait till February when all those people give up after a month, and then I'm just going to stick to it every day. Because I know those people, they're going to come in, they're going to crowd my gym. I don't want to have a crowded gym. I also don't want to have to go to 5 a.m. just to not have a crowded gym. So screw that. I'm going to wait till February. No one's going anywhere after they get home from work in February in Buffalo, and I will go to the gym after work. I will be a real grown-up, and I'll make the Two Goalies One Mic group chat make me be accountable on that. Maybe me and Combs will go smash some weights.
We'll definitely do our best to keep you accountable.
I gotta make that fourth line of the Hart Foundation next year, boys.
You're right. We need you. After we lost last Sunday after a big win against Reimer Heating and Cooling, a team that usually wins the whole thing every year. We beat them in a shootout after being down by 2 with like 5 minutes left. Came back, tied it, and won a shootout. Right? Yeah, a couple clicks, stopped all 3 shots in the shootout. No big deal. But sound a little bit like Cully there. I don't care. No, my New Year's resolution, I want to eat healthier too. drink more water, and stop drinking 5-hour energies. I drink those every day at work. I gotta stop. They're expensive, and just I think I've grown an immunity to them. It's more or less like I get used to doing that, so it becomes like a routine rather than actually needing it in the morning. So I just want to. I kicked them once before. I didn't drink them for like 2.5 years, and then one day I was tired I was going golfing, and I was really tired. I went and grabbed one for the first time in like 2.5 years, and it just like started up all over again for the past year. So I'm gonna stop doing those again, save myself some money, and just start drinking more water and eating more appropriately.
Yeah, maybe get a side salad with the wings.
No salad for me. No, not never a salad with the wings.
Well,
Maybe
get a
some
chicken,
celery sticks.
get a chicken Caesar salad.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a little bit best of what Hannah Montana say? Best of both worlds. Come on,
Mhm.
treat yourself.
But with that being said, this has been episode 80 of Two Goalies, One Mic. For all you that joined along with us on YouTube, we'd appreciate it if you went and subscribed on YouTube. Search us out, Two Goalies, One Mic. Always appreciate any subscribers. Likes, comments, always open to any positive or even negative criticism. Follow us on Two Goalies, One Mic on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This is actually our debut of broadcasting from our Facebook page, so hopefully that went well.
Yeah,
And looking forward to 2022. And a lot of fun guests, and can't wait. I'm a big fan of what's to come in 2022. From what I already know for the guests we have lined up, a lot to be excited about, Steve.
Yeah, I've gotten a few sneak peeks in the texts. It's been very exciting. 2022, big stuff. 22, Owen Power. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. But with that being said, guys, this has been episode 80 of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. Over on Georgian Boulevard. Anytime you want to get ready for game day for a Bills game, or game night for the Sabres, be sure to get over to Outlet Liquor. Big win for the Bills against the New England Patriots, proving all the doubters wrong and taking back the division, and now they're in the driver's seat, looking to win back-to-back division titles. Super excited for that. So they play the Falcons on Sunday. Should be hopefully a blowout for the Bills. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't want to speak too soon of it, but I would expect them to win.
Just for the record, I'm not going to be filming an episode of Where the Buffalo Roam this Sunday, because the past two I did on a Bills game day, they lost those games. So again, I'm blaming myself personally for those two L's.
Yeah, we all blame
my fault. I cannot speak on such a holy day. I need to rest, and I need to let our Lord and Savior Josh Allen do what he does.
Exactly.
I need to back off.
So, thanks for joining, everybody. Again, episode 80 of Two Goalies, One Mic. We will see you in 2022, and let's go Sabres.